Welcome back to Afternoon Live. Our next guest teaches parents how to connect with their children by first connecting with themselves. We welcome the author of Mindful Parenting in a Messy World. Gale is with us. Hi, Michelle.
Hello, thank you for having me.
Absolutely. I'm interested. What is mindful parenting?
Well, mindfulness, if you ask 40 different people, they'll respond 40 different ways. But the way I describe mindfulness is paying attention on purpose to what's happening inside of us and outside of us with compassion and non-judgment.
Is that even possible?
So non-judgment, it's a practice.
Okay.
It's a practice.
It's like a muscle. We have to sort of just keep at it.
Exactly. We have to keep, just like you build muscle at the gym. That's a perfect metaphor. We have to practice this. And so mindful parenting is practicing this in our parenting relationship with our children.
Okay, so the first thing I think about is that non-judgmental piece, right?
Yes,
But as parents, I feel like we are often judge and jury, right?
Yeah.
So how can we do this without having some sort of judgmental piece in there to know which is right and which is wrong?
Yeah, so the judgment doesn't go away.
Okay.
Right? I'll often, when I'm teaching meditation, people will say, oh, it's not good for me. I can't stop thinking.
Right.
And
it's difficult.
Yes,
You sound like
we're
me.
not going to stop thinking, right?
Right.
Thinking is part of it. It's becoming the moment we notice we're thinking, that's the practice, right? Oh, we're aware of thinking.
Okay.
So we could do the same thing with our judgments. Oh, I'm judging myself.
Oh, right. I see. Okay, so
Right.
when you notice it, then you have to actively, what, turn that off?
Yeah, well, no, it's not about turning it off. It's more about being with. Like, oh, I do that sometimes, right? I'm judgmental about myself and my children sometimes. And then we can let it go or let it be in that moment, or we can do a little more inquiry and look into it. Like, what is that about? Why do I do that? Why am I so hard on myself?
Yeah. Yeah, and that's no joke. I mean, parents are generally harder on themselves than we need to be.
Yes.
But as a mom, I mean, I can speak for myself, and I hope I'm hopefully speaking for some others. We tend to really feel it, like feel guilty when we aren't there, or pressure to be perfect, right?
Yeah.
So what in the world can we do with the mindless, I was gonna say mindless parenting. It's not mindless parenting, it's mindful parenting.
Yes.
In this messy situation.
Yeah. And, you know, the words perfection and parenting just shouldn't be in the same sentence, right?
Good, yeah.
It's not about that. Life is messy. That's what's true, right? What we want to be able to do is inject some curiosity into it.
Okay.
Right? So when we're giving ourselves such a hard time and we make a mistake, so let's say, you know, my son is mad at me and goes and he slams the door, right? And what's our normal reaction? How dare you?
Exactly.
How dare you?
Exactly.
Right? Okay, so now take two. Right, the next day. I hope it doesn't happen 2 days in a row. But just if it did,
right? If it did,
if it did, right? I would the door would slam, and in that moment of mindfulness, I'd stop and I'd pause,
right?
And not react right then, right? And take a step back and take a breath, and probably maybe in that moment I might say, you know, I've slammed doors too, and what is this really about? Right? It's never about the behavior. It's about what's under the behavior, right? What emotion's going on, what feeling, what unmet need that's not going on in that moment. So it doesn't mean that it's okay for them to slam the door.
Because you know I was getting ready to go there, right, Michelle? Because that's not okay. You're not slamming any doors.
It is not okay. It is not okay. And right, that big reaction, that big reaction that we have in that moment usually doesn't help the situation.
That's true. Right? It sort of distracts from everything, because now it becomes about the door being slammed as opposed to why did you do that?
Exactly.
What's happening
going on
here?
and how are you, right? What's happening for you? Like you're not a kid that, you know, generally slams doors.
Sure.
So what's going on? Like, did something happen at school? Like, and you may get something, you may not. But that connection, that compassion, that moment of compassion creates connection. And that's what we said at the beginning, right? We connect with ourselves.
Right.
And then we can connect to our children.
I'm having to take a deep breath as I'm listening. Because it's difficult. I mean, everybody knows I have 3 beautiful girls. But that doesn't mean that their attitudes and behavior is always beautiful. And so... And I just keep thinking about the slamming door thing. Okay, so how then do you, once you address what's happening, so maybe you just put the door slam on the back burner and get to it after you've made that connection? And then is it sort of like and by the way, we're not going to be slamming any more doors around here.
Or even better.
What?
when you slammed the door, I just really noticed how my heart hurt, like how that made me feel when you slammed the door on me.
Okay.
Like, it really made me feel separate from you. It scared me. It made me feel disconnected from you. And I don't want to feel that way. And I don't want you to feel that way.
This is new. This is sort of, I mean, I wasn't raised like that.
Yeah.
I mean, to be
Nope,
honest,
none of us were.
My parents didn't do a whole lot of mindfulness. It was a lot of, you do what I say, and if you don't, there'll be consequences and repercussions. And maybe there was more ruling by like fear and not a whole lot of conversation about maybe why I might be upset or I don't know, why I might have been acting out or what have you. It was just that you don't do that. You do not do that. So do you feel like doing this then we raise better mindful children too? Mindful of other people too?
Yes, I think we raise children that have more emotional awareness and more ability to connect with their emotions and know how they're feeling, right? We live in a world that needs more heart and more consciousness and more awakeness.
Absolutely.
And I think if we raise our children this way, or raise our children somewhat in this way, right? Nobody does it perfectly. I've been doing this for a long time, and I still will snap and raise my voice. Right?
It's gonna happen.
It's gonna happen. It's part of the deal. But then we raise children that can have these conversations in the bigger world, right?
I like it. I think I'll try it. We'll see what happens.
See what happens.
Doesn't mean I'm going for any slam doors, though. You know that. All right, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, now we're going to have more information about Michelle's book and a link to her website from ours at KATU.com for you. Don't go away. We will be right back.